Dr. Alhaji Bukola Abubakar Saraki. Today, I would neither refer to you as Excellency nor an Honorable. The simple reason is because there has been various revelations about your outrageous earnings as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. These are actions that are neither honorable nor excellent in nature. Our address to you today also extends to all members of the Nigerian Senate. It also extends to Yakubu Dogora and all members of the House of Representatives that have mischievously received monies, our money, outside the laid-down law as prescribed by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission, ROMAFC. Our statement today is not intended to disrespect the office of the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or the office of the Senators. Neither is it intended to disrespect the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and its members. But if you are a federal legislator in the Federal Republic of Nigeria making laws for Nigerians, and you received any salary, and you still continue to receive these salaries outside the law of Nigeria, overtly or covertly, this message is directed at you, and we reserve no apology. We have not come here today in search of a diplomatic language. You cannot call yourselves lawmakers when you are indeed lawbreakers. We respect the positions you occupy, but our problem is with you, the occupiers of those exalted positions. Without mincing words, we dare to say that you are misfits for those positions. By way of introduction, I am Frederick Odorige. I'm the president of the Nigerian Association in Hungary. But today I'm not speaking on behalf of the Association of Nigerians in Hungary. Rather, I'm speaking as the global coordinator of the European Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria. We are basing our speech today on the statement and accusations made against you by the following respected Nigerians. 1. Professor Isse Sage, the Nigerian Presidential Advisory Committee Chairman on Anti-Corruption, PACAC. His statement reads, "From the information I have gathered, a Nigerian senator earns about 29 million naira a month and over 3 billion naira a year." Number 2, Senator Shehu Sani. The running cost of a senator is 13.5 million naira every month. The salary of a senator is about 750,000 naira per month. The constituency project itself is given on a zonal basis, and almost every senator will go with a constituency fund of about 200 million naira. Number 3, Senate spokesman, Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi. His statement is, Sani has not said anything new. Number 4, ex-governor John Obi. His statement, "None of you know what a governor earns. Quote me anywhere. If you know, you won't be here. It is something you can't imagine. You just know the one of senators and you are shouting. But what if you know that of the governors?" Number 5, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, in a letter addressed to the Senate President and to the Speaker of the House of Representatives on the 13th of January 2016. And the statement or the letter read thus: "The two arms ran the affairs of the country unmindful of the rainy day. The rainy day is now here. Where is patriotism? Where is commitment? Where is service? By our Constitution, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission is charged with the responsibility of fixing emoluments of the three arms of government: executive, legislature, and judiciary. The commission did its job, but by different disingenuous ways and devices, the legislature has overturned the recommendations of the commission and hiked up for themselves. There is no valid argument for this except to see it for what it is: law breaking and impunity by lawmakers. That was a statement written by the former president Olusegun Obasanjo. Alhaji Dr. Senator Bukola Saraki. We know that the recent revelation by Senator Sani that Nigerian senators earn over 14 million naira is just a part of a wider truth. There are founded statements, according to Ise Sage, that after you receive from left, right, up and down and center, you receive about 30 million naira monthly. This is around 75,000 euro. Revelations show that you, Senator Saraki, and other leaders of the National Assembly earn far much more than that. This shows that a monthly earning of a Nigerian senator is more than a yearly income of a Nigerian medical doctor. Think about that. It is also more than the salary of 42 Nigerian army generals, or more than twice the pay of the US president. By further calculation, it is 9 times the salary of US congressmen that earn between USD 174,000 to USD 191,000 per annum. With such salaries, resources needed for capital and social welfare projects for Nigerians are spirited away by you people. Is this fair? Is this fair for a country that you swore to serve? This has created hunger, unemployment, and a huge economic deficit to the resources of our country. Why do you continue to do this to us as a nation? All in the name of national service? You have been cheating Nigerians for too long, and this continued theft of our commonwealth must no longer be accepted. The time for it to stop has come. The time has come for all Nigerians to come together and scatter the common enemies of national progress. Saraki, you voted various amounts of money to yourselves against the law of Nigeria, and this is against Section 70 of the Nigerian Constitution, that says that only ROMAFC has the right to fix the salaries of all public office holders, including legislators. You people are earning more than what is statutorily appropriated to you. The Nigerian Constitution, as amended in 1999, clearly states that the National Assembly cannot use its appropriation power for the personal gain of lawmakers. So what are you doing now? The earnings of these legislators without recourse to ROMAFC is a flagrant abuse of power. It is ultra-vires, inexcusable, unconstitutional, and to say the least, criminal. It is criminal. You are the ones that will fix your earnings, and you are the ones that will annually pad the national budget of our country, which you ingeniously pull out of our national treasury into your private pockets. This has been going on for years, and you always feel that there's nothing Nigerians can do. Now we are set to do something. You are so corrupt that even Obasanjo calls you corrupt. Sadly, the so-called leaders of Nigeria have so entrenched corruption that some Nigerians now glorify the corrupt. Nigerians now sheepishly keep quiet because stealing is no longer corruption. Let us recall that Dr. David Mark, as Minister of Communication many years ago, suggested death penalty for whoever steals telecom cable. He once referred to the Nigerian National Football Federation as the center of corruption in the country. Are today's senators, which includes David Mark, better than cable thieves and the National Football Federation put together? You politicians, you play the politics of I, me, and myself. You don't care a hoot about our country. Saraki, you may have been able to cripple us as a country, but people like you will never cripple us as a people. we refuse to remain weak. How you ran and you continue to run the Federal Republic of Nigeria as evil cabals is the reason why different parts of the country are living in tension now. Others are agitating for the breakup of Nigeria. Nigeria will not break. People like you will break for Nigeria to move on. Yes, we cannot continue with people like you in Nigeria if we must find our bearing as a nation. You people, you are the real problems, you leaders, you are the real problems that Nigeria has. If Abat Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Obafemi Awolowo, Amadu Bello, Antonio Naoro, Fumilayo Rasom Kuti, Tafawa Balewa, if they knew that this is what you, the present-day Nigerian politicians, will turn our country into, they would not have fought for our independence. The bones of our heroes past are now turning, grieving painfully in their graves. The labor of our heroes past now seems to be in vain because of your actions. Today, Nigerians need another independence from our politicians, and we must get it by fire and by force. We need a second independence. The second independence will be our last fight as a people, destined for greatness. This is revolution without ammunition. Nigeria is politically independent, but economically imprisoned. We are imprisoned by those who rose from grass to grace. Many of you were nothing. Nothing. But now you live like demigods. We are imprisoned by those who have no idea of what hard work is, yet they preach hard work. We are imprisoned by the products of the evil machinations of their self-seeking godfathers, who by sheer cunning imposed and recycled themselves against us from the political reinvestments of funds which they hitherto looted from our national treasury. Nigeria must be free. And the time is now. Freedom is not only in the absence of wars and prison walls. It is in the attack and the inhibitions of the desires of our collective dream as a people. This chain must break. Saraki, you and your gang members at the National Assembly, you are worse than Evans the Kidnapper. Yes. You are worse than Evans the Kidnapper. Are you in the Senate to serve or to ruin this country? The 6 most notorious armed robbers in the history of Nigeria are Babatunde Folorunsho, Ishola Oyenusi, Police Inspector George Iyamu, Lawrence Anini, Shina Rambo, and Abiodun Egunjobi, aka Godogodo. Most of them were publicly assassinated. If you add what all of them stole throughout their robbery careers, you will see that it is not up to what Nigerian federal legislators are looting in 1 month. So how are Nigerian federal legislators better than these robbers? The only difference is that legislators are not armed, but they used armed police escorts to escort the loot. Karma will catch up with each and every one of you. Bukola Saraki, you rode on your father's horse into politics because the weak people of Kogi State allowed him to seize their common destinies. All in the name of godfatherism. Kogi State became a Saraki family property that you even succeeded your sister in the Senate. Understand that you are now leaving behind a legacy for your children, which they will regret. You shame your children in advance. We will point our fingers at your children one by one and tell the coming generation that your generation, the generation of their parents, pulled us back as a country. We are going to point at your children. History will speak for itself. Nigerian federal legislators know this. We do not envy your bulletproof jeeps because we, Nigerians, fully believe that sooner than later, these products of greed will become government official vehicles to work for Nigerians. We will not wait for your children to inherit them. We will not grind them like the president of the Philippines did recently with the vehicles of corrupt public office holders. We are going to seize them. Saraki and the gang, we do not envy your houses, home and abroad, built with the sweat and the blood of hard-working Nigerians, because we, Nigerians, fully believe that sooner than later, those products of greed will become government properties to be used as the hospitals which you refuse to build for Nigerians. Your hotels will be converted into schools for Nigerian children, schools you refuse to build with our money. Some of your houses will be converted into orphanage homes and homes for the widows and the elderly. Homes you refuse to build for our people. We will not wait for your children to inherit those houses. Your bank accounts, home and abroad, will be used to provide clean, drinkable water. The water you deliberately refuse to provide for our people. Did Abacha die with his loot? Nigerian federal legislators, you even stoop so low that you receive wardrobe allowances. Wardrobe allowances. That is money to buy clothes. It means you came naked to the legislature. Your self-appropriated salaries cannot buy clothes. You cannot buy clothes with the money that you are looting from us. You are not only greedy, you are wicked. That is what you are. You are wicked. We will pull those clothes from you. They belong to us, and we want them back now. One day you will wash those clothes, but you will not be the ones to wear them. You know what you are wearing? Beggars bought those clothes for you, and you accepted to wear them. The blind, the deaf, and the dumb, they were forced to buy clothes for you. The homeless are clothing you. The poor, struggling market man and woman, the sick that could not afford hospital bills, and the unemployed were forced to buy clothes for you to wear. And you are wearing them. And you are all honorable men and women. Greedy and wicked honorables. You shamefully go further to stoop low to receive newspaper allowances. Newspaper allowances. How many of you can read or even recite the national anthem? For those of you that could read, you mean you cannot buy newspapers from your monthly loot? Newspaper is 200 naira in Nigeria. Many Okada riders, they buy newspapers daily. Yet you allocate millions of naira to yourselves for newspapers. See how you expose the greed in your heart. You are the proverbial one that carries an elephant on his head, but is at the same time using his toes to dig cricket with elephants on your head. You also receive furniture allowances. So the senator that received that furniture allowance before you fled away with the furnitures. Go to many Nigerian offices and see them using chairs that hang on 3 legs. Some of the offices in Nigeria, they have applied to the government to change their chairs for many years. Nothing happened. For over 20 years, some of them 15 years. Old chairs in Nigerian offices. You work part-time, but you supervise the work of people who work full-time. You even allocate salaries to yourself when you're on holidays. What are you doing to Nigeria? You have no conscience as leaders, as a people? Is it insulting to call you a gang? You have no passion for our country. You are the worst sort of existing nationalist on planet Earth. Nigeria belongs to each and every one of us. How many are you that are enslaving the rest of us? We call on all Nigerians to arise now, to rise up now and join our movement. We refuse to be enslaved further. God forbid. Nigeria, our country, is now like a conquered territory by a few. A conquered territory. A country conquered by greedy politicians. The military came for many years and conquered us with their guns. We remain conquered because we remain silent. Today we are politically free, but remain economically enslaved by the same people we call excellencies and honorables. We must fight for this second independence, now or never. Which excellency? Which honorable? Who are they? They steal our money and export our commonwealth into those same countries that traded on our people as slaves. Is this not another form of slavery? Yet you want us to sing Nigeria Kolobe as our national anthem? I repeat, Bukola, Saraki, you and your gang members are worse than Evans the Kidnapper. If you are appropriating these earnings to yourselves, just the way kidnappers quote various sums of money as ransom, are you better than the terrorists who kidnap Nigerian schoolgirls for ransom? You keep lying to the younger generation that they are the leaders of tomorrow, yet you always prevent their tomorrows from coming. Tomorrow cannot be a promise. We are more interested in our today. The Senate has become a playground for recycled politicians and retired soldiers who wish to remain forever relevant in the politics of Nigeria. Our federal legislature is now where you see governors, deputy governors, those that have ruled Nigeria in different offices. It's like a playground for them. A governor that has stayed there for 8 years will not check into the Senate. Doing what? They just come for talk shows and earn fat salaries. From the huge salaries and kickbacks you receive, you reinvest it into politics because you cannot successfully run private businesses since you are used to swallowing free public money like the mysterious snake. Your profession is politics and godfatherism. How many of you were earning 30 million naira monthly from your private businesses before you became senators? Some former governors among you installed their stooges to succeed them. And they also receive regular favors for doing that at the expense of infrastructural development. With the greed in your flesh, you manipulate the political structure of the state as a springboard for moving to the Senate. Your manipulations continue to disenfranchise Nigerians from voting. You have been cheating Nigerians for too long. What do you have to offer when, after running a state, for example, of 25 local government areas for 8 years, then you now stoop low and you say, no, now I want to be a senator to represent 6 local government areas. Because you want to remain relevant. Excellencies, those that were once called excellencies are now called honorables. How honorable is honorable? After being governors and senators, some of you, even if I even prepared to be local government chairman, if the need arises, it is shameful and it is laughable too. Before you start reminding us that you have a right to contest elections as citizens of Nigeria, we should ask you which of the elections that brought you into office were really free and fair. Many of you rigged with the same money you stole from your previous office. Saraki, look at you for example. You were governor of Kogi State for 8 years. Can the indigents of Kogi State vouch on your behalf that your tenure transformed the state? Or is that not the Kogi State that was in there? Why can't state governors in Nigeria use 8 years to turn their states to look like even the poorest states in Europe? Yet you come to Europe every day, you see everything. Many of you are currently facing corruption charges. And you are still there in the Senate. Why must a senator facing corruption charges or involved in drugs, forgery, and other illegalities be allowed to sit in the Senate for 1 second and make laws for Nigerians? In which country of the world is that nonsense tolerated? It is only in Nigeria that you will see a senator who was caught pants down in an hotel room with 2 prostitutes. We turn around to tell us that they will investigate the circumstances leading to why his sexual exploits was recorded on video. Disgusting. Repugnant. Nigerian senators are giving our country a very bad image, nationally and internationally. Their actions are telling the world that we are corrupt as a people. When Nigerians commit crime outside, it is because they have learned the act of maneuvering from Nigerian senators. Why are senators or parliamentarians in South Africa, Ghana, Togo, Sierra Leone, and indeed all African countries not appropriating such amounts of money to themselves? Why is the case of Nigeria different? Unquenchable greed. And they are all honorables and excellencies, men and women. Imagine 21 former governors and deputies becoming senators because they cannot work. And most of you still receive pensions as former governors, lawbreakers who do not respect the law. You repeatedly say that you are the leaders of tomorrow, and that is why a David Mark, full names David Alachenu Bonaventure Mark, a man who has occupied various offices since the early 80s, is still in the Senate today. He's a retired Nigerian Army Brigadier General, a former military governor of Niger State, former Minister of Communication, 2-time Senate President, and today remains as a floor member senator from Benue State for 4 terms of 16 years. He might even be preparing for a 5th term because the people from his constituency are so unintelligent that nobody else but David Mark qualifies to be a senator. With all the experiences from the offices he held, has he been able to address the killing of Benue State people by herdsmen? What has he done with all his military experiences? Has he been able to address the security experiences in Nigeria, in his state? Look at Air Commodore Jonah Jang, former governor of Plateau State, now senator. He was military governor of Benue State in 1985 and later became governor of Gongola State in 1986. His name was recently published by the federal government for stealing 12.5 billion naira when he served as governor of Plateau State. He's there, a senator. Senator Joshua Darie is another one, former governor. He's also there, senator. In 2004, he was arrested with large sums of money in London. He has been accused of stealing about $9 million of public funds and of money laundering. EFCC has a case against him also concerning the misappropriation of the ecological fund. Joshua is there, making laws for Nigeria as an honorable senator. Senator Peter Nwamboshi's name was also published by the federal government. Yes, for embezzling 1.5 million naira. The name of Senator Stella Odwa was also published, accused of embezzling 9.5 billion naira. Senator Kashamu Buruji, he has a case of drug peddling to answer in the United States. He's there, making laws for Nigerians. Senator Abdulaziz Murtala Nyako, Senator Abdullah Yadamu, Senator Danjuma Ogoje, Senator Ahmed Sani Yarima, Senator Bukola Saraki, and several others. They have criminal charges of corruption hanging around their necks. And they are there, making laws for Nigerians. The list is too long for us to start mentioning names. They know themselves. All honorable men and women, former excellencies. You have all betrayed public trust. As recycled office holders, you have practical experience in the recycling business already. Why don't you put your experiences into productive use? Retire from your nefarious politicking and go into recycling business of waste management. You could effectively recycle the many waste products in your respective states to produce electricity or other valuable products. Put your talents to use. In Sweden, 2016, nearly 2.3 million tons of household waste was turned into energy through burning. In New Jersey, United States of America, the recycling business of waste management employs approximately 27,000 people. What economic impact do these federal legislators generate for Nigeria monthly? Are they productive? No. Some of them just go there to sleep. In many cases, you will never hear many of them make any useful contribution. All you hear them say is, yeah, nay. They just talk about talking. They argue about their own arguments, mostly formulated by themselves, just to appear busy, unconvincing show of efficiency. A senator will be speaking, and another senator who came late will be shaking arms around while they form groups, as if in petty gossip. It's not even a disciplined house. Even the workers within the Senate chambers, wearing black and white, you see them walking all around the place when the senator is addressing the house. That is the picture of how organized they are. Do they see this in the Senate of other developed countries? A senator that preaches made in Nigerian goods, but they are importing very expensive vehicles for themselves, as if they trek to the National Assembly. They allegedly squeeze the pockets to approve things and people. Some sitting and past governors are already warming up to join the Senate in 2019. We are getting feelers that one Emmanuel Duaran, medical doctor turned recycled politician, has started campaigning to be senator to represent Warri South. The same person that was imposed as governor of Delta State by his cousin James Ibori for 8 years. The one that celebrated 8 years in office for providing street lights powered by generators. It was the same one that provided depleted television screens to various cities so that our youths will be distracted and continually focused on watching football matches. Uduaghan was Commissioner for Health, Secretary to the State Government. 8 years as imposed governor of Delta State. As a medical doctor, he established a private business in 1994. But today, he cannot operate an hospital because of the more lucrative business that politics offers them. He may equally prefer to travel abroad for medical treatment whenever the need arises. He's planning to contest with another recycled politician, another recycled senator, James Manager. James Manager, who has been in the Senate for 12 years. He wants to go now for another 4 years to be 16 years because they are the only Nigerians there. They are the wisest people in their constituency. They will never give opportunity to the younger ones. And all their ideas are analog. They have no ideas even. Another senatorial aspirant is Governor Rochas Okorocha of Imo State, the one that erected the statue of disgraced South African former President Jacob Zuma in Imo State. The same Okorocha that boasted to the people of Imo State that is determined to impose his son-in-law, Uche Nwosu, to succeed him as governor of Imo State. We are watching the people of Imo State, whether they will wish to suffer what Delta State suffered for 8 years under the imposed Governor Duaran. The current governor of Delta State, Kwara, we hear that he's working, but he was not imposed. He's working because he was not imposed. Whoever imposed a governor on the people has something to hide. They just want to close their track. And when they impose leaders on us, they take away the rights of the people to vote because they rig and they bribe the electoral umpires from the same money that they stole from the state. We challenge the good people of Imo State. Some of you were vigorously fighting for the actualization of Biafra. Let us see how you can now fight for the freedom of your state and your senatorial district. You must collect your voter's card and make a clear statement that governance of a state is not a family property. Guard your votes to the end. Must all manner of persons continue to be senators in Nigeria? That is part of what this coalition stands for. We are going to stand against imposition of candidates. You do not beg the old brigades to give opportunity for the younger generation. They never will. What we need to do is to forcefully kick them out with our voters card. Many of you have refused to collect your voters card after registration. Why? It is a huge error. If you do not collect them, aspirants will bribe INEC officials to give them the names and cards of abandoned voters cards left in their offices. On election day, they will bribe the electoral officer in their polling booths and they will mark your name, which they had previously collected. They will put in your card and even give money to the INEC officials, who will now give them ballot papers. And they will thumb print for you in exchange for money. In most cases, they will lie that the card reader did not function properly. So many times when you hear that the voter's card machine did not function on election day, it's a lie. The evil politicians and the electoral officials, they dysfunctioned it. The next thing you will hear is result. Fake result. Because you refuse to vote. So stand up. Because if you don't stand up, pick your voter's card and you vote, you will be enslaved for another 4 years. And another common thief will represent you in government because you refuse to exercise your right to choose your leader. Nigerians, go and collect your voter's card now so that you don't need to add problems to Nigeria. These politicians, they believe that once they can bribe the party structure to win the primaries, they could equally bribe INEC officials with irresistible offers to rig for them with the same money which they stole from us. They will go for that to bribe election tribunals with money that they stole from the same people that they have impoverished. Then they will steal again to recover what they have invested in the elections. Please, on election day, video the result in your police stations and keep it in case they rig. Make sure you also video around the environment so that we can see what where the video is coming from. Then follow the result to the final collation point. If you catch anybody trying to rig, do unto them as you are led and bring them to shame within the ambit of the law. They must not be allowed to be doing this to us over and over again, all the time. You cannot catch a thief red-handed and you let them go with your property.